Ivanka Trump says at NY fraud trial she doesn't recall deal details. Politics like her brothers Donald Trump Jr. and Eric Trump, who testified last week. Ivanka Trump sought to distance herself from the questionable valuation methods that have already been ruled fraudulent by the judge overseeing the trial. Evidence presented in court showed Ivanka was concerned that her father did not have enough wealth to provide as collateral for loans the Trump Organization used to develop properties in Washington and Florida. Donald Trump's daughter Ivanka Trump testified on Wednesday that she did not recall details of real estate deals she worked on at her father's company, in a New York civil fraud trial that threatens the former U.S. president's business empire. Like her brothers Donald Trump Jr. and Eric Trump, who testified last week, Ivanka Trump sought to distance herself from the questionable valuation methods that have already been ruled fraudulent by the judge overseeing the trial. Time equals 400 Ms. Greater than evidence presented in court showed Ivanka was concerned that her father did not have enough wealth to provide as collateral for loans the Trump Organization used to develop properties in Washington and Florida. Ivanka acknowledged she worked on those deals but said she was not involved in calculating Trump's net worth. "I generally understood that there was a personal guarantee," she testified. "This level of granularity was not something that I can sit here today and say that I recall." The lawsuit by New York Attorney General Letitia James, a Democrat, accuses Trump and his family businesses of manipulating real estate asset values to dupe lenders and insurers and embellish Trump's reputation as a successful businessman. Trump has acknowledged on the witness stand that some of the estimates of golf courses, office towers and other company assets were inaccurate, though he said many were undervalued. Unlike her siblings and father, Ivanka Trump is not a defendant in the case. As a top executive at the Trump Organization between 2011 and 2017, Ivanka said she focused on redeveloping the Doral Golf Course in Florida and the old post office property in Washington. Concerns about Trump net worth at the trial. She was shown a 2011 email in which she acknowledged that a requirement by lender Deutsche Bank that her father maintain a net worth of at least $3 billion was a problem but encouraged company officials to approve it anyway. "We wanted to get a great rate and the only way to get proceeds, term and principal where we want them is to guarantee the deal," she wrote to a Trump Organization lawyer. The two sides ultimately agreed to set the net worth requirement at $2.5 billion, even though her father claimed a net worth of $4.3 billion that year. She was also shown a 2011 email she received from the federal government expressing concern about irregularities in Trump's financial statements as the company was proposing to redevelop the old post office, a federal property. Other evidence showed she profited personally from that deal. Time equals 400 Ms. Greater than she again said she did not recall specifics. "There were many emails, many conversations," she said. Trump, who leads his rivals for the 2024 Republican presidential nomination despite a maelstrom of legal troubles, has denied wrongdoing and accused James and Justice Arthur Engoron of political bias. Time equals 400 Ms. Greater than during defiant and rambling testimony on Monday, Trump acknowledged that valuations for his properties were not always accurate but said the errors were not relevant to the financial institutions that used them to price deals. Donald Jr. and Eric Trump testified last week that the financial documents at the heart of the case were not their responsibility, though emails and other documents showed they may have been more involved than their testimony indicated. Ivanka joined her father during his 2017 to 2021 term in the White House, leaving her brothers in charge of the company during that time. James said Ivanka nevertheless was involved in manipulating property values. Time equals 400 Ms. Greater than. She will attempt today to distance herself from the company, but unfortunately the facts will reveal that in fact she was very much involved, James said on the courthouse steps ahead of Wednesday's hearing. In a ruling that found Trump, his adult sons and 10 of his companies liable for fraud, Engoron described in scathing terms how the defendants concocted valuations. His ruling could strip Trump's control of some of his best-known properties, though that order is on hold during appeal. James is seeking at least $250 million in penalties, as well as restrictions that would prevent Trump and his adult sons from doing business in New York. In addition to this case, Trump is a defendant in 4 separate criminal cases, including 2 stemming from his attempts to overturn Democrat Joe Biden's 2020 presidential election victory. Nevertheless, opinion polls show he holds a commanding lead over Republican rivals to face Biden next year. This story has not been edited by DevDiscourse staff and is auto-generated from a syndicated feed.